Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Excuse my tardiness. Um, oh yeah, I really don't have an excuse. I really don't. um, okay. I should have actually said ramble for the title also, right? I don't have any points. Well, I do have points to make, but I don't have any typed down or written down. So we are going to be freestyling this. This is inspired by Mr. Obsidian Umia Ali, right? Shout out to Obsidian. Um, and so I was listening to Obsidian speak about his part two. So I have to finish listening to part two. It was very long. It was 4 hours and some change. His part two of the Ebony K. Williams and Lauren conversation. I have to go back and listen to part one. I have to finish listening to part two. But for what I got through for his part two, what kept on hitting me, and it's so obvious, duh, we've said it, and it's clearly in my title. Um, yeah, this is what it really is about, huh? Who you want versus who wants you, and what you think you are deserving of, right? What and who you think you are deserving of, or that you know that you're not necessarily deserving of but you want anyway, right? And we've heard Ostefko kind of speak to this once, right? Where she admitted she wants like a highly attractive man. I think she used the word gorgeous, but a gorgeous man who only has eyes for her, right? Okay, right. So that's really what the issue is here, isn't it? From Chrissy to Ebony K. Williams to Yanni, right? Kim Foster at one point. It's a whole lot of women because Kim Foster telling y'all she a 7.2. So yeah, she wants 7.2 physical attractiveness as the world's currently constituted, at least. As the West is currently constituted, as America is currently constituted with the European beauty standard, and even in the black community with our particular, even though, shout out to Charles Faulkner Jr., our beauty standard, non-beauty standard, right? Kim Foster says she's a 7.2, which means she expects 7.2 physical attraction, 7.2 outcomes. Well, yeah. We done seen your dude. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't. Yep, that was a waste out. Jumped out the lane to jump right back in it. Yeah. So it's about who wants you versus who you want and who you think you're deserving of, or what treatment. Shout out to DC. You feel, and the word feel is important. You feel you are deserving of the treatment you feel you are deserving of, both from that individual, that spouse or potential spouse, and from the larger society. Whether you are attractive or not, whether you are educated or not, whether you run in certain circles, this conversation is largely a conversation about who you want versus who wants you, the type of man you want, the type of woman you want, versus the type of woman that wants you, versus the type of man that wants you. Right? Obsidian spoke about the D9, right? The Divine Nine, fraternities and sororities, black fraternities and sororities, right? And how Ebony K. Williams, even though she bust her butt to get to where she is, she's not part of that. That's a bit of a struggle. And Ebony K. Williams did mention the D9. Yeah, she did. Ostefko said something not exactly the same, but somewhat in that lane, where she was speaking to, it is about, having yourself in the correct circles, right? And Mr. Z will say that there is a luck element to this conversation. I agree with Ostefko on that. There is a luck element to this. It's not as great as she would like to make it seem, but there is a luck element to this, right? But it really is adult men, but definitely adult women throwing a temper tantrum about their romantic or lack thereof outcomes, their intimate or lack thereof outcomes, right? So when I say these people are acting like petulant children, entitled brats, right? Throwing temper tantrums, 7-year-old, 6-year-old temper tantrums, 5-year-old temper tantrum. I'm not just pulling that out of my rear end. No, these people are, right? These people are. Right? We have watched them attempt to throw black men are secretly DL, so secretly gay in our face. We have watched them try to throw the femicide black over every corner is a 50, 60 something year old, 40 some odd year old black man preying on a 12 or 13-year-old innocent black girl. They tried to throw that in our face, the predator black men. They tried to throw, once again, the femicide. Black men are just walking into the black community, just offing every black girl and women they come across. These monsters. We watched them, once again, try to throw white men and non-black men in our face. We watched them get caught up in the lie and in the exaggeration in that, right? You go on a first date. Before you even go on a first date with the white guy, he's sending you how much money so that you could get your hair and your nails done. And then white men abruptly enter that woman's, Twitter thread and say, oh, yeah, no. Right? So they try to gaslight us with the mythical, magical white man talk. We watched them try to Uno reverse with the passport girls conversation. Well, we've been passport since the 70s, since the 80s. Right? Y'all ain't saying nothing new. Where are all your wedding rings? Yikes. Right? When we go out of town, when we go to other countries, it's like, what have I done to be in your presence? You beautiful African Nubian goddess queen, you. Yeah, that's it. Eastern European men are talking to you like that. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Right? Western Europeans who've been mingling with black folks, I don't know, for a couple millennia. Yeah, that's how they're speaking to black women. Yeah, that's it. Right? All the gaslighting. Right? Latinos who got a true colorism hierarchy. Yeah, that's how they speaking to black women. Yeah, that's it. Right? When you go to Latin America, that's how they're treating you, right? 5'2" tall Hector, that's how he's treating you. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Right? When you go to South Asia or Southeast Asia, let's say South Asia. Yeah, that's how the Indians and the Bangladeshis and the Sri Lankans and them are treating you, right? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Mm-hmm. When you go to Southeast Asia, Laos, Cambodia, them. Yeah, that's how they're treating you, right? When you go to East Asia, Japan, China, South Korea, yeah, that's how they're treating you. All these gaslighting techniques. And really what it comes down to is I'm going to gaslight you with these men that treat me better. Because it's about who wants you versus who you want. Right? Who you want versus who wants you. And if I can lie to you, if I can gaslight you with these mythical, magical men from another group or another demographic that treats me better than you do, or I lie to you and tell you treats me better than you do, who don't practice colorism or not like you, right? Who values my beauty unlike you, then you're apt to treat me better, or value me more, or value me the way I think you should. Uh, right? Who wants you versus who you want, and we're watching that unravel in front of us with multiple, social media personalities and people that we might not have even thought of or known of if it wasn't for the internet, or we wouldn't have heard them this much, or we wouldn't have known about their difficulties in the dating and mating market, right? Who would who would Ostefko be without the internet? Who would Chrissy be without the internet? Who would Yanni be without the internet? Ebony K. Williams, would we know how much she's struggling with this if it wasn't for social media and the internet? Right? Who would Cynthia G be without the internet? Crystal Kerosene was already on her jihad against black men before the interwebs, but who would she be? When Obsidian said, and he speaks about this often, the exit interview, right? That black men need to conduct the exit interview, and white collar professional black men need to inform, their female counterparts, black women counterparts, why they leave them. That is exactly the point at which Mr. Z said, "Yeah, I'm gonna create a video about this." There's a video that needs to come out of this, and I agree with Obsidian 100%. And I wouldn't just add, and far be it for me to ask something of non-black men. Oh no, non-black men, you need to say it too. Oh damn, Mr. Z, not you including Brad. Right? Because it's clear, but for women, especially black women, if they can find a way to weasel out of what they just did or what just happened, and they find some, Disney-esque excuse or reason why this didn't work, oh, they'll use it. Oh, yes, they will. If we hope to make women better, black women better, we hope to better intimate relationships, bolster marriage, have marriages last longer, right? Have more young people get married. Oh no, women are going to have to know that they're insufferable also. They're going to have to know that orgasms also. They're going to have to know that men also don't want to be bothered. That men also fake smile, do the courtesy laugh at corny jokes from women, right? They're going to have to know that. They're going to have to know that, your ex-boyfriend ghosted you, and it wouldn't be ghosting anymore, but ghosted you because you're insufferable, right? They're going to have to know that. And the best way for them to know that is for you, similarly situated, right? White collar, upwardly mobile, financially well endowed men to be honest with black women. Yeah, and as Obsidian said, yeah, I didn't bust my butt to go to Yale, to attend Yale, to graduate, to deal with some of these, white collar racist white folks, to end up coming home to you. Why would I do that? Who wants you versus who you want, right? Right? And if I'm Borgen, y'all let me know, because I know I'm in a bit of a dead zone right now. Yep, I am smack dab in the dead zone. Let me get a 1 in the chat if I am clear, right? And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, right? I don't know. Am I Borgin? Yes, no, maybe so. But yeah, so we see women in particular, black women, gaslighting black men. Gaslighting black men. You have the people like Princella, who has, like I told y'all, they ran the gamut, right? I said it before I even knew of a Princella, although she had been circling the interwebs before I even really knew who a Princella was. I said it. Black women, actually, much like Princella, go from black men. They're insufferable. Those black women are insufferable. They never think it's them. So they go from dating black men and failing to dating non-black men, oftentimes failing, but you don't know about that. They never speak about how often they fail with white men, Latino men, Asian men, right? Then they do the same sex loving thing, right? Princella. They never tell you how often. Chrissy refused to tell y'all she been swirling in divest. Chrissy is similar age to Mr. Z. Chrissy been swirling for some 20 years now, at least something along those lines. 18 years, 17 years, 20 years, maybe 21 years since from what, high school or some odd, if I'm not mistaken. She's never been all about black men. What does that mean? That means that you've been failing with non-black men for 20 years, but you're not counting it. Most of your anger and your angst, if not all of it, is reserved for, once again, black men. The black community by and large, but black men specifically, right? That speaks to something, right? Who wants you versus who you want, who you think you're deserving of, who you think, you're obligated to, and who's obligated to you. That's better. Who's obligated to you? See, if you actually buy into meritocracy, which most of y'all don't up until it comes time to start talking about spouses, but if you buy the meritocracy, then you actually think you merited your way into this type of outcome with these type of men and these type of relationships so that you can live this type of lifestyle, right? It's I went to this school, and it's funny because I would gather that in those exit interviews, what you would hear from women is, this is not fair. I'm owed this. If not these exact words, but the sentiment, right? What was the point? And you hear this, right? I went to school here, right? I work at this firm, Fortune 500 company, right? My family is these people, are these people, right? I was born here. I was raised here. I went to this school. I am deserving of this lifestyle and this type of man. And let no one tell me otherwise, right? And let no one tell me otherwise. And I would argue once again, this is about who wants you versus who you want. We're watching them throw fits, train tracks, train tracks, train tracks, all across the interwebs, because what they feel society is saying to them is that you are not deserving. I agree with Obsidian. This is, and I said it actually, this was a class conversation. Mr. Z said it. Shout out to the brother Obsidian, right? I said it from when Ebony K. Williams first popped up back on the scene, a few months ago, what, five or so months ago, right? 6 or so months ago. You got kicked off of Mount Olympus and you're throwing a fit, you're throwing a temper tantrum. Because what you're saying is, no, y'all will not relegate me down there with those blue collar black men, those not educated blue collar black men who either don't earn enough or not are, excuse me, or are not of the class I am of, or I think I'm of. I said it back then. This was a class conversation. I said it on the breakdown, a woman's perspective. Stay your ass up there, Ebony K. Williams. We didn't ask for you. We're not the ones who's attempted to relegate you to where we are. Right? Who wants you versus who you want? Chrissy, who wants you versus who you want? Yanni, who wants you versus who you want? Yanni said to her subscribers, better yet, we just happen to hear it. She put the vagina on the table wide open for one of her homeboys, and he pretty much did the nah pass. Right? Nah pass. But that's the point right there, right? And Trell Bentley says, deserve is such a pet peeve to me. You earn what you get. Deserve sounds like entitlement to me. Yeah, Trell, you're a grown ass man. Of course. You're an adult black man born and raised in America. Of course. Right? But when you think, right, and let's, be clear, some of these women, they worked hard for the position they're in, right? Their career, they had to eat crow. They had to laugh at white people, white men's corny jokes. Okay, cool. But that doesn't mean anything for your intimacy, right? For your relationships, your intimate relationships with men, particularly in this case, black men, right? And that's when they get angry and indignant and resentful. Because as I've said before, Mr. Z has been saying this, and I should have been saying it earlier. Dear America, for young women in general, younger Xers on down. Okay, fine. Let's say you raised good students. Cool. You raised women that are industrious or that want to be industrious. Cool, with aspirations. Yes, cool. Right? You raised good employees, good workers. All right, cool. And these women are horrible wives and girlfriends, horrible partners. All right, fine. You raised them to be partners and not wives. They're not even good partners. Fine. You didn't raise them to be wives, to play the role of a wife. The role a wife would play, let's say, pre-1975, pre-1970. Fine. You didn't raise them to be wives. You raised them to be partners. They're not even good partners. For heterosexual men, namely black men, white men got a different type of situation, clearly. They're not even good partners. So, yeah, you raised good students and good employees and industrious, aspirational women. Fine. Okay, granted. Although I don't agree with all of that. All right, for argument's sake, granted. They're horrible girlfriends and horrible wives. And we'll pause right here. Y'all talk amongst yourselves and like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. So we'll be back in a few seconds, everyone. And Nama says, Z, best example would be Vanessa Williams in Soul Food. Compare and contrast her with Vivica A. Fox in that very movie. Yep, 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 yep. Right? That's actually, oh, Nama, that was a great example. That's a great example. And which one of them was the salty one? And which one of them was the one with the husband? Uh-oh. We'll pause again. Y'all speak amongst yourselves.
1711. Any sauce for you?
No.
No sauce for the week?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Never really cared for sauce on my wings, Demetrius. And Demetrius says, what's wrong with sauce, Z? If it's cooked right and seasoned right, you really don't need sauce, right? I mean, I don't fault other people for sauce, but Mr. Z gonna say something sacrilegious. I'm gonna just say this and leave that there, and y'all bring it up in the future, throw in my face. I don't care for barbecue sauce. Oh god damn, Z, what did you just say? I don't like barbecue sauce, and I've had barbecue sauce multiple different ways. Don't forget, I'm in the South, right? I've had barbecue sauce multiple different ways. Never cared for it at all, like none. We're just gonna leave that there. All right, back to the conversation at hand, right? So, yeah, that was actually named. That was a great example. That was a great example, right? Jay Moore, I don't know if I got the sauce anymore. When I was younger, for a little while, I did, right? Right? I'm an old ninja now, right? But yeah, who wants you versus who you want? Who wants you versus who you want? Who you think you're deserving of? The type of men or women that you think that you should be spoiled for choice with, right? That's what all of this is about. That's what all the anger is about. Shout out to you, Trail. That's what all the sound of entitlement is about, because they are entitled. They feel entitled to these type of men, right? They feel entitled to these type of men, to a particular lifestyle and a particular outcome. That is why Ebony K. Williams speaks the way she does. That's why Ostefko and Chrissy and Yanni speak the way they do. Yanni told you, I want to be a kept woman of leisure. I want to be kept. I want to be able to keep myself. So I want to be well off financially myself. And then I want a man who has more, who earns more, to put me in an even better situation. Well, right? How is that working exactly right now? Right? How is that working exactly right now? When you hear Chrissy speak about these mythical, magical, non-black men, it's about what she feels she is deserving of. Who wants you versus who you want. It's if black men, and remember this ties into colorism to a certain extent for her, if black men do not value darker skinned black women's skin tone, and we will not get a particular outcome from financially well-off black men. We're not talking about black men who we think have no choice, right? This is much of their argument, right? Yeah, black men end up with a darker skinned black woman, right? With not European features, right? This is when featureism comes in. Because just because you're dark skinned, that doesn't mean, right? They're talking about strictly West African features, and you got to be a little bit heavy, and your nose has to be a little bit wider and broader, right? Let's be very clear. And what they're saying is if black men are not going to treat darker skin, more voluptuous, kinky hair, broader nose, black women a certain way, then black women, darker skin, kinkier hair, broader nose, black women not need to expand their options. Let's stop. Cut it. Need to damn near exclusively date out. Who wants you versus who you want. Now, as Mr. Z said, they will not say and count how many times they fail, how many times they walk in a room full of white people, white men, right? And everybody keeps their gaze control. No one glances. Or one or two white men glance, but it's not the type of white men they would be interested in. It's not the type of Latino men they'll be interested in. Or it is, and he's married. Well, don't let that stop you. You never have. Right? Don't let a little thing like breaking up a marriage stop you. Right? They don't count that. But what did we see on that? Was it ABC or Dateline or whichever one of those specials where they were covering black women? Because this is embarrassing. They're telling the whole world how much they're struggling with this, but okay. The secondhand cringe is ridiculous. Where it was a group of black women speaking about their dating woes. And the lighter skinned black woman was like, yeah, I was at a bar, I was at a club, and I was at the counter, and I kind of, was looking at this guy, white guy, and he was looking at me, but he never came over, and he never pursued. And exactly. Oh yeah, that's right. You like that? Gaze control. Yep. I'm a little rusty now, but oh man, I was a master at gaze control. Yeah, I saw you already. I saw your shape already. I already saw whether I found you attractive already from half a mile away. I'm exaggerating, but y'all get the gist of it. So by the time you walk up, damn, is that dude gay? Y'all ain't see him look at me. He ain't look back. I already judged everything I need to judge. Right? Side note, Z and one of his co-workers used to have this kind of back and forth on this because he's the one that likes to let you know he's looking. And I've watched women cringe, right? Because he's like damn near standing over them, right? Making them feel uncomfortable. Because he's like staring in he's letting her know he's staring. And he didn't only do that to black women, he did that to like white and Latina women. Like, bro, I don't want to be associated with you when you catch a charge, player. Right? We're in the street harassment era. Not me. By the time you pass, I'm already looking the other way. Right? I'm already looking the other way. You would never know. You would never know. I already peeped everything I needed to peep. Right? My conversation didn't pause with who I'm speaking with at all. You're practically invisible. Especially the way y'all speaking on the internet. Street harassment, me too, not I. You ain't gonna catch. Never let the white man get me down. You ain't gonna catch me slipping, right? So back to the conversation at hand, and this actually kind of ties. Who wants you versus who you want, right? Who wants you versus who you want? Who you think you're deserve? Who you think you are deserving of the treatment you think you and feel you are deserving of, right? And that is what this is about. That is what this is about. And the anger and the resentment and the character assassination and the gaslighting and the straight up lying on and about black men, right, is a result of certain women, black women, feeling that the men that they want and that they desire are not desirous of them, right? And all of the character assassination. Let's not forget, talk black, sleep white, especially coming out of the 70s, right? As if there weren't Black Panther black women, quote unquote revolutionary black women sleeping with white men. You let the women that were in their teens and 20s at the time speak. Black men, black revolutionary men, were just chasing after every non-black woman they could touch, particularly white women. While black women stayed in the black community, tapping on their fingers, waiting. Yeah, that's what was happening. That's what was happening. That's why so many boomer women, don't do it, Mr. Z, have 2 and 3 and 4 kids from 2 and 3 and 4 different dudes. And Uncle Teddy is light skinned with freckles. Where did that come from? That's because black women were just in the hood, in the black community, waiting for all these black men who are running off and gallivanting and frolicking with white women, right? With non-black women, but let's be very clear, most of black women's anger is towards white women after black men, right? Oh, this is a great comment, Toya. And Toya says, wait, so 40 childless, double degreed, and gainfully employed, all of that, not so bad. That's actually pretty good for the market, right? And Toya says, wait, so being 40 childless, double degreed, and gainfully employed doesn't entitle me to a millionaire, quote unquote, peace? And it's funny, like, you're being funny, Toya, but like, really, that is the mentality. That is the sentiment. That is what we're hearing all over. And even from your PhDs, right? The lady that I covered that spoke about so many, mainly non-black women, excuse me, freezing their eggs, right? And she spoke of this, and she's a PhD professor and everything, right? And when she would speak about these women, all these women are kick ass, and all these women are like, right? They're industrious, they're in their career, they're high earning, and I'm like, yeah, all that sound great, but what does that mean about being a wife? Right? Okay, yeah, she's a great employee. Yeah, she put in overtime. Okay, cool. She stay in the office late. Yeah, right? She was able to make partner in a couple years. Okay, great. Right? She's the first in the office, the last out. Cool. Right? She has discipline, right? She knows when to be stern at work. All that's great. What does that mean about her being a good enough person outside of that office? A good enough person to be a good enough woman, to be a good enough girlfriend, to be a good enough wife, to be a good enough mother. What does that have to do with her being a great employee? And before that, a great student, right? Don't worry, Trail. Mr. Z got some of that going on in his not immediate family per se, but relatives. Oh yeah, we got some of that too in the Z household. I tell y'all, for those of you that I'm telling you, much of the ADOS experience is replicated in the Caribbean. When I tell y'all, grandma or great grandma, three, four, five, six different children from four different men, three different men, two sets of families, right? Nine kids. This is a real story Mr. Z heard recently. Nine children from two different guys. God damn. Five the first time, four the second, right? Sauchi said same thing in Africa, right? The quietest kept. We shout out to BGS for bursting a lot of people's bubble with this over romanticizing of the 1950s and how virtuous grandma or great grandma was. Are you sure about that? Right? Y'all sure grandma wasn't getting down too? This is the point. And Spain Man says, to me, it goes back to this notion that women are supposed to dictate to black men what they should find desirable. And there you go. Look, I'm a great employee. Doesn't that make me more attractive? Yeah, not physically. Look, I'm earning $150,000 a year. Doesn't that make me more attractive? Yeah, not physically. I earn enough. I'm earning 75. I'll do. I'll manage. And that's assuming that she would quote unquote date down in the first place, right? Who wants you versus who you want? We're watching women, black women namely, throw temper tantrums all over the world, all over these interwebs, because they feel like they're being relegated to loser men because they don't want loser men. They'll have sex with some loser men if those loser men are attractive enough. Those loser black men are attractive enough. But relationship and marriage, nope. right? And the exit, I'm going to back up as a blue collar black man. I am going to back up Mr. Obsidian by saying, yes, brothers, y'all need to give those exit interviews. Dear white men who's messing around with black women, you need to give those exit interviews. Dear Latino men that are messing around with black women, you need to give those exit interviews. Because what ends up happening is those women then walk around this entire society feeling slighted, feeling like you ghosted her, or feeling like you just gave her the cold shoulder and you forced her into breaking up with you, and you never tell her, by the way, you're insufferable. You do too much. You too snarky. You're too intense. Everything got to be a debate or argument, and Mr. Z is one to talk. Right? And as Obsidian said, I didn't attend Yale for this. There's no 50-50. One of us runs this and the other doesn't. God damn, Mr. Z. That doesn't mean that you're not going to be more knowledgeable on certain things than I am. That doesn't mean I'm not going to defer to you for certain things, but it does mean there's one of us is default leader, period. All right. So yeah, so what ends up happening is sometimes those women end up dating a blue collar man, feeling like they had to, they were forced by society, they were forced by men, they were forced by the men they desire and they want. They don't want to be single, so they end up dating or being in situationship with men they don't actually value. And it's because some of you brothers never gave her that exit interview. Right? Look, I didn't like the way you spoke to the waiter. And that gave me a hint of what type of girlfriend you're going to be. Right? I didn't like the way I saw you speak to your nephew. That kind of gave me an idea of what type of mother you're going to be. Right? The fact that you and your spouse don't get along and you're able to speak to them, not speak to them for months on end, kind of gives me an idea of how you'll give me the silent treatment. Yeah, I'm not, nope. And this is exactly Spain, man. Let us never forget they dragged Drake and Common for not wifing Serena and her needing to swirl out, but she went through other white men as well. But look, we already know these people. They talk about us having double standards, but we already know, like for the white man, when the white man messes up, it goes, it gets swept under the rug, right? It gets swept under the rug, and quiet is kept. Black women know where they rank with non-black men, particularly white men. What they're really saying when they have a white man is, oh my God, he values me. Oh my God, I got me my white king. Look, 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 look. I got one. Y'all, for all of you that ever heard the Games album with Ali Boombaye, what was the name of that album? But that album. You remember the skit where the brother was like, "Ooh, look at the Jesus piece! Look, it's shining, it's shining." That's black women speaking about being in a relationship with white men. Ooh, look, 6'2". Ooh, look, blonde hair, blue eyes. Ooh, I got me one. I got me one. It's shining. It's shining, ninja. Ninja, it's shining. Ooh, and I got me a good looking one too. Ha ha. Right? The meme of Meek Mills running around the corner, right? When people bust out and laughing, you see Meek Mill that ooh, right? Jesus Peace was the name of the album. Yes, yes, right, right. So when the white man runs afoul of them, it's uh, okay. Yeah, but you black men, right? Wait, what do black men have to do with this? You exist, but we're not the ones who just embarrassed you in public. We're not the ones that told the entire society that we started off with a one night stand. It was great sex. You asked me out. You proposed. You tried to keep us together, and it didn't work. And now you're filing for divorce. Uh-oh, Jody Turner Smith. Yikes. Huh? Who wants you versus who you want, right? As I said before, women like Chrissy have been swelling for how long now? At least a decade and a half, if we're going to be generous. Is she admitting all these white and she said currently she's exclusively dating non-black? Is she admitting how much of this is failing? All you get is a blink and you'll miss it, right? More somber tone. Yeah, I'm in my luxury apartment by my goddamn self. Who you want versus who wants you. In dear society, stop telling us that women, at least black women, internalize feeling unattractive. That's BS. I'm a black man. I'm in the black community. I could tell you that's BS. Right? Men, when they feel danger, it's dangerous when so many of them feel lonely, and lonely men, sexless men are dangerous, and women aren't. The character assassination isn't dangerous. The harming of their own children, yikes, Mr. Z, isn't dangerous. The insulting of men, black men in particular, all across the society, using white racist, white supremacist tropes, isn't dangerous, right? So who you want versus who wants you, right? Who you want versus who wants you. You live in danger. Shout out to Toya. Because the song just played in the back of my mind, right? For all of us that grew up with a bunch of Jamaican friends, and you know, but now I gotta go listen to it, Toya. Right? So yeah. And on that note, everyone, we'll pause right here. Um, there's more to be said because this shows you, and when I say these people are throwing a temper tantrum and they're acting like petulant children, yes, because when you feel entitled, shout out to Trell, right? When you feel deserving of, and you feel like this world is not giving you what you're deserving of, and you're deserving of a particular type of man and a particular type of lifestyle and a particular type of outcome for your intimate, romantic, dating, mating, sex life, and you're not achieving that, then I think you get what we see now, right? Yeah, I saw you say something like that, and Toya says, "If you're serious, I'll do the hedging bets for hyenas stream." Yeah, yeah, because I saw you put that comment down, and I was a little confused. I was like, wait a minute, what? Right? So okay, okay, I am serious, I guess, and yeah, I could maybe join a stream. Oh, oh, hernias. Sorry, hernias. Not hyenas, hernias. Sorry. If you're serious, I'll do the hedging bets for hernias stream. Right? That's what happened when you just glance at the phone and glance back up, but it's not even spelled the same. So there you go. And on that note, as I said, there's more. Wait. There's more to be said about this, right? Because much of the crux, much of what we're experiencing, both in real life and on these interwebs, are about what people think they are deserving of and who they want. And it's not just the individual who they want, the type of men they think they are deserving of versus who is actually in their dating pool, right? Better yet, who's in the line, right? Who's interested in them? What type of men tend to be interested in them, right? Okay, I get it. Okay, all right. And Toya says, because you were talking about black women hedging their bets for having more time, but my joke is that they're getting hernias. Okay. Yeah, do that stream. Do that stream. Do that stream. Right. I'll definitely try to listen, and if I can, I'll try to jump on. Right. But on that note, everyone, um like, share, subscribe, hit the thank you button for the replay squad. Thank y'all for listening. We will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Um, as I said before, we are witnessing what women sound like, right? And our society just refuses to acknowledge that this is what your daughters sound like when they feel slighted, when they feel like they're deserving, when who wants them, who they want, maybe not necessarily want them. And we're watching women throw temper tantrums. Y'all could call it what y'all want. It's temper tantrum, petulant child temper tantrums. And our society refuses to call it for what it is. And it boils down to who these women want, the type of lifestyle they want, provided for by the type of man they want, versus what is actually approaching them, who's approaching them, the type of men, right? And so we'll truly pause right here. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, right? So let's do that again. We'll truly pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, right? And shout out to Toya, right? So we'll keep an eye out for Toya's stream. And yeah. All right, everyone. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. And we'll pause right here truly. All right, everyone.